Private member statements. I call the member for Rockdale.
Thank you, Mr Assistant Speaker, and I wish to bring to the attention of the House an issue affecting my constituents as operators of small businesses within the City of Sydney, particularly on George Street in the CBD. More than a year ago, construction started on the new CBD light rail, and while much has been said in this place and elsewhere of traffic and transport grinding to a halt, sadly very little has been said of the difficulties faced by the small business owners who have seen scaffolding erected feet from their shop fronts and the despicable way in which they have been treated by this government. Now, I don't need to go into the appalling mismanagement under successive ministers in relation to the tendering, contracting, the construction costs and the initially ill-conceived pre-2011 opposition thought bubbles that have gone into the light rail project. Enough has already been said about the poor value for money we are getting for this project. What I'd like to raise today is that the Liberal Party, the party that supposedly wants to represent small business, has been absolutely ignorant and unresponsive to the plight of the lessees and small business operators along the George Street construction corridor. I have reports from several owners of cafes, retail outlets, restaurants and other commercial enterprises, many of which have been a productive part of our CBD business community for decades, which have premium rental commitments but have seen their sales fall by upwards of 50% over the past 12 months. Those opposite are always keen to inform us of the strength of the New South Wales economy, but I can say on behalf of these many small business holders that they are being financially crippled as a direct result of this government's mismanaged and misguided construction works. How can Minister Constance expect a CBD cafe to continue operating with the noise and the dust of the streetscape being torn apart? Mr Assistant Speaker, if those opposite really cared about small business, the ministers who have had responsibility for this project, Premier Berejiklian and Minister Constance, would have made a genuine effort to work closely with small business to ensure their transition through the light rail's construction produced a zero net effect to their financial standing. Instead, what I can report is that the small business owners and leaseholders have been stonewalled by government spin doctors, insisting that this temporary pain will result in greater future gains. What complete and utter garbage. The government is great at setting up sideshows and stunts that they claim are supporting small businesses, but these gestures are so trivial as to be meaningless and nothing more than an insult to these poor proprietors. If either of the responsible ministers had ever had to run a business in their lives, they would know that for many small businesses, you live or die month to month. Furthermore, again, something that would be a no-brainer to anybody who actually had to manage their own business, many of these businesses have limited tenure on their leases. And far too many of them are paying out on leases that, if there is any benefit following the light rail's construction, will see them paying much higher prices to remain in the same location. Essentially, Madam Speaker, sorry, Mr Assistant Speaker, paying for the pain and losing the gain. Mr Speaker, our business community requires certainty, and to have a disastrous project like this dumped on your front door with little to no consultation,
That's not true.
it's true, and an inadequate business case, and no fair compensation for the substantial amount of revenue these businesses have lost is just appalling. The CBD Light Rail website states that this project was developed in consultation with councils, business and local communities. But I challenge the Minister or the Premier to inform this House of which of the shopfront businesses along George Street they consulted with or who supported them. Construction is already underway and the city is set to be in chaos for at least 2 more years. But it's not too late for the government to get out there, talk to the individual businesses involved, establish hardship payments and a reasonable compensation model on a case-by-case basis. Otherwise, these long-term business operations will be lost to our city forever. This is no way to run a government, Mr Speaker, and the people and business owners of our city and state deserve much better than this rubbish.
Speaker.